I've been not very kind to some of my officers whom I thought were frustrating this system. And there was a thinking that probably this will just go away and that it will not be implemented. But as we progressed, they realized that we meant business. And I will tell you now, the acceptability of this system has increased a lot. That is why you can see now many and many procuring entities onboarding into the system. And we have communicated very clearly that beginning 1st July, there will be no excuse, because they used to talk about capacity. We have built the capacity. About the system now has been stabilized. So there is no excuse. The suppliers, the contractors now understand the system. And we have partnered with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry to support and train the suppliers and contractors. Now, let me give you an example. I have talked about Kisumu. If Kisumu can onboard about 40% in terms of contracts onto EGP, 40%, what justification would other counties have not to onboard? Procurement or tender award amounting to 1.4 billion shillings. Kisumu County has already onboarded as at May. So what excuse would other counties have? Because these counties are the same. But if you talk about maybe far remote counties, then you pick out Samburu. Samburu is one of the remote counties we know in this country, and it is ranking number 10 with a number of contracts onboarded already with values of close to 50 million shillings. So, in short, there is no excuse. And from July 1st, Mr. Speaker, I want to persuade this Senate that there should be no excuse in not using EGP. Honorable Senator Osotsi asked me about whether there is a problem of project management. I don't think so. I don't think there is any problem with the project management. As any other project, and I'm sure Honorable Senator Osotsi has done project management, I have equally done project management. In the initial stages, at the formative stages of every project, there are challenges. Whether preparation was done to what level, there will be some challenges. How you deal with those challenges is what sets apart a good project management from a bad one or a badly implemented one. And so far, looking at the response, what is happening across the country, I can confidently say that the project management of this project is above average. Which is the implementing agency? National Treasury. And this one is not even a discretion. It is provided in law. Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, Section 7, mandates the National Treasury to be the one responsible for managing this system of procurement. Senator Boni, my friend Boni, a very good question, but unfortunately, it is not the matter that I'm dealing with today. And Honorable Speaker, if you allow me, I think I can deal with this matter if it is raised substantively on e-citizen and where the money goes and how much we have been receiving and the reasons for paying for these convenience fees. And by the way, there was a time I appeared before this House and I had attempted to address it, but I can address it again substantially, because I think it's also something that has been enjoying some public debate. A lot of information distorted anyway, but it is my duty and responsibility to be accountable on behalf of the government of Kenya to the people's representatives, the Senate. So I would gladly come and address this question. On the question by Senator Eddie Okech on essential services, I will tell you that the response that counties are giving you are excuses. Excuses in the sense that there is no essential service, whether at the national government level or at the county level, that has been frustrated in terms of procurement because of this system. And by the way, there is no reason why you cannot use this platform for even essential services. But we have given exemptions where a procuring entity has hit or met some headwinds, and the services are essential. So it cannot be true that someone can come and tell the Senate authoritatively that they have not been able to procure because of the platform. All the challenges that procuring entities meet, we try to address them. And if we can't, for whatever reason, we have given exemptions. So I don't think that is correct, that there is any procuring entity that has been frustrated in terms of procurement because they cannot use this platform. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to end there because those are the supplementary questions that were raised. Thank you.
Very well, Honorable CS. Honorable Senators, what is your issue, Senator Bonnie? I can't see you on my platform.
Yes, I'm pressing here, but I thought it was reflecting.
You know, you are one of the, you are acting like the same officers who are not accepting NGP. Because my NGP, I should read your name in my system.
I have pressed intervention. I thought it was showing there, but thanks for the...
Yes, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, the minister has stepped down my question.
Is it on your question? Supplementary question? Yes. What is the issue?
He has stepped down my supplementary question and promised that he's going to address it at an appropriate time. I was not asking out of ignorance. I thought there was very close relationship between EGPS and e-citizen. I don't want to argue. May I plead with the chair that I don't lose my opportunity to ask a supplementary question. You allow me to do it since the minister is here. I had two, but he has stepped down.
No, you can't ask two supplementary questions.
The one I asked, he has said he will answer another day.
That is what was your supplementary question.
Yes.
The secretariat have really recorded for the CS to respond, either through communication to the clerk or you come back to respond to that. So let us give other senators an opportunity to ask their supplementary questions. Since yours is a weighty matter that needs a lot of attention, so just get satisfied. So I can see Senator Modigi, Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just a very short and brief question to the Cabinet Secretary. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of EGP, the use of this system in the counties, Honorable CS, it is true that it is it's becoming a system that is the county are getting difficulties to use it, particularly in the remote counties where most of the people are illiterate. And in this manner, I want to ask CS if this system is biased to those who are illiterate, who are not able to read, even to open the system, go through the internet and all that. And I think I'm talking on behalf of the Mama Mboga, Mama Shuka, who is down there and who also has an interest to do business to counties and even to government. What is the mechanism that these people are also being, that they are going? Is your ministry working out to make sure that these people are trained to get awareness on how to use the system, and how has your ministry done that to make sure that this system is available to all? Thank you.
Senator Fatuma Dudu.
Thank you, Waziri Karibu. And you are really doing a good job in Treasury. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out, because there's a lot happening in the counties, where counties are actually taking overdrafts, loans, without actually approval from Treasury. And counties are losing a lot of money. For example, in my county, we have 3 months members of staff have not even gotten their salary. And the issues raised by the county government is that they have not been given budget allocation, which is not true. Penalties are there, and those penalties are borne by the county government. It's really a very serious matter that needs control. Engaging internationally with international companies as county governments. The law is very clear. Counties cannot engage international companies or countries outside Kenya without going treasury. But these things are happening in our counties. And I think you really need to look into that. I thank you.
So, what was your supplementary question? You know, you are taking advantage of this session to give you a speech on Isiolo. Before you answer those and proceed to the next question, Honorable CS, Senator Ososi, can you pay attention because you are the one who under problem? What was the issue that you raised on your supplementary question? You said you did not get the correct answer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the CS answered my question, but I'm not satisfied with the answer because I had indicated that when I read through the question and I listen to the CS, there seems to be a serious problem with the project management, especially for IT projects. And I said that previously, during the Grand Coalition government, they established the ICT authority, which was to coordinate project management for ICT across government, especially the e-government process. But now it looks like that is no longer the case, that each ministry is doing its own ICT project. And that could be the source of the problem. And I just wanted him to clarify on that. And further to that, if each ministry is doing its own project, then what is the work of ICT authority? It's a moribund department. So maybe my good friend CS can explain further on that, because we have had many projects in government which has had transitional issues.
I think
you saw
your issue is very clear, Senator, so you'll be able to answer that. So, Waziri, can you kindly answer the two questions and then we make progress?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the first question or the first additional supplementary question came from Senator Seki, Senator for Kajiado, who actually asked me about the use of the system in counties and says us about the people who are illiterate. We train all suppliers and all contractors regardless of their academic understanding and qualifications. But I would tell Senator Seki that the manual system is worse for those who are illiterate. If you have participated in the procurement system in this country, and you see the kind of bulky documents that have been in use for tendering processes, the BQs and all those bulky documents which sometimes are carried in cartons. If you are illiterate, you can't fill them. So this system may also not be very friendly to people who are illiterate, but I am sure those who are illiterate would use people who at least can understand the system, the same way they were using other people to complete, or if I may say in Kiswahili, jaza for them, those bulky documents. So it is both. Whether if you are illiterate, you'll have challenge even whether it is manual or this system. But those who have difficulty in using the system for whatever reason in terms of understanding of IT, that is why we have the trainers doing the training. And we are doing even weekly webinars. Now, on Senator Fatuma, you asked me, although I don't want to run away from this question, even though it is a little bit not in addressing the question before us, but you asked about counties taking overdrafts without authority from the National Treasury. I think this is something we are trying to limit so that counties don't have to really take loans from banks, because those financial institutions are very expensive. One. Two, there is no budget line. If you look at the budget lines of most of these counties, if not all, and this house, you interact, you have an opportunity to engage with the budgets for counties. There is no line item for those overdraft charges in terms of interest. But again, they go ahead and take. Whether we delay in disbursement, we have been really trying to disburse funds timeously. With the exception, yes, I know this month, we haven't disbursed the month of May and June. But we are working around the clock to make sure that next week, early next week, we will disburse the month of May. And we will try from the Treasury to make sure that we don't close the year with any funding to the counties, the same way we did with the 24-25 financial year. And again, I'm sure counties will appreciate that previously it used to be worse. And you can see nowadays we don't have many press conferences, Mr. Speaker, from the Council of Governors addressing the issue of delay in exchequer releases. In terms of signing international contracts, there is no entity in this country, no entity, whether it is national or county, if it is a public entity, which can enter into any contract in the Republic of Kenya without the approval, if there is financial element to it, without the National Treasury and the Attorney General. So if there is any county which is working outside that space, then they should be warned that what they are doing is criminal. On ICT Authority, we are working very closely with ICT Authority in implementation of IT projects. And Senator Osotsi, much as sometimes people exaggerate, I must say, because I've been around this grand coalition government, I was there, I was an assistant minister, and Kibaki regime. The truth of the matter is that in terms of ICT and IT, this government has done better than any other government before. In terms of onboarding services, in terms of use of IT systems, and you can see we have implemented something that has been the talk ever since, which we even had to put in the Constitution. And then finally we enacted a legal framework for it. That is the e-procurement. We have implemented, I saw some, I don't want to call them what I wanted to call them, but I saw some politician out there saying we will implement Treasury single account. We have already implemented Treasury single account with benefits to this country that if I had time, another time, I would expound on. And many others. Integrated human resource system has just been implemented. And I can go on and on. In terms of IT, onboarding of IT, we have done excellent. And we will continue even to do better. Thank you.
Well, let's go now to the next question. We'll do question number 050.
Mr. Speaker,
050 is by nominated Senator Aminda Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bwana Waziri, welcome to the Senate. I have about 4 questions for question 050. One, Bwana Waziri, could you provide a status report on the implementation of Kenya Vision 2030 Development Blueprint and outline the factors that have contributed to delayed achievement of targets in certain sectors? B, what corrective actions is the government taking to accelerate the delivery of targets in the underperforming sectors and ensure that the remaining period to 2030 yields measurable and equitable development outcomes in line with the blueprint? C, has the government commenced the formulation of a post-2030 national development framework? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the status of the process and indicate when and how Parliament will be involved? D, could the Cabinet Secretary also state the policy and institutional interventions that the government is considering to strengthen long-term national planning, monitoring and evaluation, fiscal alignment, and accountability in the implementation of national development plans. Thank you. That is, should I go to 051 or should I stop there first? Bwana Speaker.
Are they
Thank you.
deleted? Are they deleted according to you?
No, they are two different ones.
Okay, let him answer that one
Thank
first. 050. Honorable CS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's a long response, but I'll try to move through it quickly, maybe summarizing. Mr. Speaker was requested or asked to respond to implementation of the Kenya Vision 2030 development blueprint and outline the factors that have contributed to the delayed achievement of targets in certain sectors. Status report. Mr. Speaker, the Kenya Vision 2030 was conceptualized as the country's long-term development blueprint aimed at transforming Kenya into a newly industrializing, middle-income country, providing a high quality of life to all its citizens, anchored on economic, social, and political pillars and supported by critical enablers and macroeconomic foundations. However, progress has been uneven with persistent challenges in achieving inclusive growth, deepening structural transformation, and strengthening governance systems. Mr. Speaker, under the economic pillar, it was designed to achieve sustained economic growth of 10% per annum through the transformation of key sectors, which include agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, trade, financial services, business processing, outsourcing, the blue economy, and extractives. Its vision was to position Kenya as a globally competitive and prosperous economy. So significant gains have actually been made or recorded across these sectors. In agriculture, for example, interventions such as the fertilizer subsidy program, which has supported over 5 million farmers, and the expansion of irrigation schemes, including Galana Kulalu and Mwea, have enhanced productivity and reduced dependence on rain-fed agriculture. This is reflected in the increase in land under rice paddy irrigation from 9,626 hectares in 2007 to over 48,000 hectares in 2025, while rice production rose from 32,000 metric tons to 303,000 tons, that is almost 10 times, over the same period. The sector's contribution to GDP has increased from 16.3% in 2008 to 23% in 2025, underscoring its continued strategic importance. Agricultural value addition also expanded significantly, with agricultural value added rising from 491 billion to 4 trillion, while textile yarn exports increased from 551 tons to over 2,000 tons, demonstrating the growth or growing strength of agro-processing and manufacturing linkages. Under tourism, flagship projects focused on diversification beyond traditional beach and bush products through the development of resort cities and promotion of conference, cultural, and ecotourism. Following the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, Kenya successfully diversified tourism beyond traditional wildlife and coastal products into conference tourism, ecotourism, and cultural tourism. International arrivals recovered strongly to 2.55 million visitors in 2025, surpassing the pre-pandemic peak of 2.5 million arrivals recorded in 2019. Investments in transport infrastructure, particularly the expansion of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, have strengthened Kenya's competitiveness as a leading regional tourism and aviation hub. I wish to add that the Bomas Conference is coming up just across here, which is a major achievement for this government, and that will help us in encouraging and promoting conference tourism, which has been sluggish. And Mr. Speaker, in industrialization, Kenya has made important progress through the establishment of special economic zones and national parks in areas such as Tatu City, Dongo Kundu, Special Economic Zone, and Naivasha, alongside the revival of value chains such as textiles through Rivertex and the development of leather industrial parks. These investments, alongside the revitalization of key value chains such as textiles through Rivertex East Africa Limited and leather processing initiatives, have attracted approximately 210 billion in investment and generated an estimated 35,000 jobs. Manufacturing contribution to GDP increased from 7.2% in 2008, peaking at 9.1%.
Sorry, Honorable Sis, just a minute here. There is a point of clarification from Senator Mbua. Just a minute. Just have your seat for can see your gear was high to read the whole story. But let's hear the point of honor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know, the Cabinet Secretary has just come from the National Assembly where he read a budget. And he was heading to go, I could see. But Mr. Speaker, if I look at that response, it's a fairly detailed, very long response, and I know there are questions down there that would elicit an interaction between the CS and members. So if the senator who has sought the question has read the response and they are satisfied with it, Mr. Speaker, I would request that with the indulgence, we move to the next question so we can have some interaction before it is time for the CS to disappear. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You are right, because looking at the response, which is almost 15 pages, and the way it is structured, the response must be learned verbatim. Therefore, Senator Aminda Kibwana, I know you are good reader and you have gone through this response. So if you are satisfied with the response, then the CS can just paraphrase, or we conclude that, and then we proceed to the next question. Give her the mic, kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank Senator Wambua for his concern. I concur with him. In fact, I thought the CS was just going to summarize, but then if he has to go through it all, then I'll be okay with it. In fact, yes, I went through it last night, and I think I'm satisfied. In fact, I wasn't even going to bog him down with any supplementary question because I'd already gone through it. So I concur. I think I can go to the next question.
Unless if there is any other member.
No, that's why I wanted to give my colleagues space for the supplementary question.
If there is any other senator who has a supplementary question. The responses are in our gadgets, so I think we can be able to, you can access the response, and then if there is any member with a supplementary question, can ask. Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, you know this government likes long stories, but the devil is in the detail. So, CS, you have mentioned your project at Bomas, and I am sure he has had the concerns of Kenyans and environmentalists in particular about the hiving off of a section of Nairobi National Park to essentially put up a parking lot for that project he's talking about in Bomas. CS, now that you have spoken about it, can you tell the country what process was followed by this government to hive off a section of the Nairobi National Park for the Bomas project?
Senator Ososi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have managed to quickly peruse through the long response. And in the response, I haven't seen much about other plans which successful governments have come up with and their effect on the Vision 2030. For example, during Uhuru's time, there was a Big Five plan. And then now with this government, there is a phenomenon called bottom-up economic transformation. So I think the CS can enlighten us on the effect of these successful plans on the Vision 2030. How has that slowed down the implementation of Vision 2030, or how has that made Vision 2030 be successful? Because the impression that we're getting, Mr. Speaker, is that the successful government actually ignored Vision 2030 and came up with their own plans, which interfered with Vision 2030.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on issue raised by Senator Sifuna, the government likes long statements. I thought a government that is accountable must give as much information as is necessary. So as how you use that information now is subjective. It doesn't have to be standard. Those who support the government, you'll use it differently. Those who oppose the government, like Senator Sifuna, will also use it. And that is the value of democracy. And that is what I've provided. So, and I've given details until...
Yes, avoid really interacting.
And Mr. Speaker is asking for details. I've given details until he's complaining, and then he's asking for details.
Because
so
if you go that route, I might be not able to safeguard
you see, also...
so maybe answer the questions the way they have asked, and then...
Yeah, so I'm just responding to his question. He's talking about details, and I'm saying I have given the details. If the details is too much, then you choose what to use. Now, on the issue of bombers and hiving off of the Nairobi National Park, there is a procedure for hiving off Nairobi National Park. If that is the procedure that you're asking, I am glad to bring it to this house. But I didn't know I would be asked on how the process of bombers was arrived at. If I was asked, I am very competent and capable of coming back here and facing the Senate and addressing that issue. And I will be glad to do it. Or even my colleague in the line ministry would still do it. On issues raised by Senator Osotsi, on the big 5 agenda and the better, I think there's a bit of a confusion between a vision and policy. The vision of this country has not changed. The vision of this country is still Vision 2030, and in that vision, it is clearly stated what needs to be achieved. One of them is economic growth of 10%. And to achieve that economic growth, it is clearly spelled out what needs to be done. Now, the policy, any government campaigning will now have to develop policy around the vision of the country. And vision is vision. You are visioning, or you want to see something happen in a period of time. Now, policy will help you move to that vision. And that is exactly what Uhuru government had their own plan. Now, in this government or administration, it is a bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which has 5 pillars, and which talks about agriculture, which talks about MSMEs, which talks about healthcare, it talks about housing, and finally, digital superhighway and creative economy. On these 5 pillars, the government is implementing a number of strategies and policies to make sure that we actualize the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that will now lead us to the Vision 2030. And I have enumerated in this my response. Under agriculture, I have talked about the fertilizer subsidy, I've talked about the revival of various sectors of the economy, including tea, how we have supported coffee. We have revived the coffee production. Edible oil is high up in our agenda as a country. We are reviving rice production. Look at what is happening in Bura now with the expansion of putting more acreage under rice production and many, many others, including the sugar sector. In MSMEs, there are a number of initiatives. I can go on and on. When you come to health, we are employing the universal health coverage. And we are also doing affordable housing under the housing pillar, something that everyone will agree is taking shape. I mean, unless you just don't want to accept. So the housing pillar has picked up as the 4th pillar. The digital superhighway and creative economy. I have again told you, if you listen to my budget speech, I talked a lot about initiatives that we are putting in place to promote and support creative economy. So in a nutshell, there is no inconsistency. There is no dropping of Vision 2030. It remains our anchor vision. We are just thinking of now that it is coming to an end. Then what is the next vision? So these others are policies to actualize it. So I think I have responded to the 2 concerns by the honorable senators.
Maybe, Honorable CS, you give a commitment when you can provide the issues raised by Sifuna. No, I've also asked I've also directed the CS, or asked him to give us the a timeline when you'll be providing that information on the hiving off of the forest, Ngong forest.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether that communication will come formally, but I'm ready to prepare the response, get it even from the relevant ministries. In 2 weeks, we can submit that response in writing.
I've noted 2 weeks, yes, Senator Sifuna. Is it on the same supplementary question or a different matter?
You know, Speaker, we will
If
not
it is
allow...
a different matter, of course, I will not be able to give you
I just
that
want to make
leeway.
something clear, Speaker. Verbosity is not detail. If you just throw around words that don't give specific answers to specific questions, you can see he doesn't have an answer to my question.
But he said you will prepare for your question.
He has long stories about housing.
In
They
2
keep
weeks' time,
repeating
which
these
is
things in
okay.
every
That is
forum.
how we
The
conduct
CS
business.
will not get away with this. We want answers to the concerns of the public, not just stories about housing.
Senator Sifuna, you are not a stranger in this Senate. If you ask a CS a question and he has no answer that particular time, he is given time to provide.
Yes, but Speaker,
So what is
it
so
came
strange
from
with
his
the
own
CS for
response.
Treasury?
It came from the same response. I was around when Vision 2030 was prepared. I don't
So
remember.
that is why I'm saying I'm not giving
Just
you
a
a
minute,
leeway
Honorable
again
Speaker.
to ask another supplementary question.
Just a minute, Speaker. I don't remember the hiving off of Nairobi National Park being part of Vision 2030 for these projects. So when he speaks about it, he should give us details. So I'm happy I said he'll answer in two
very well.
weeks, but let him not write me long paragraphs. Just give us the
Senator
procedure
Okech.
that was used to